On today's edition of TMI Tuesday, we'll be looking at raising patriotism, raising a patriotic citizenry towards national rebirth, and looking at this basic and sensitive issue that surrounds the rebirth of Nigeria as a nation. It's quite important to quickly introduce the discussants with me on this show. From my immediate left, I have an erudite and articulate patriot. He is one who is the president of One Love Foundation, Patriot Patrick Osaige Iholo. Man, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers.
And just by Patriot Patrick Osaige Iholo, we have a social media influencer, a public affairs analyst, and a clergyman. And also he's one who has been here one or two occasions to also dissect and analyze issues pertaining to political history and discourse towards having a better platform. And it's no one else but Samuel Chinedu. Many thanks for coming, Samuel.
Thank you, Philip. Good morning, viewers.
All right, so the issues about our history, the issues about raising patriotism in Nigeria, how do we fathom that? And basically, I'll be asking you first, Patrick Iholo. We have these issues about our ethical and moral foundation that brought us to where we are as a pluralist and multi-ethnic society. Would you say that that ethical foundation and moral foundation that brought us to where we are is right or wrong?
Well, you know, it depends on individual's opinion. I wouldn't say it's wrong. I also would not agree that is right. But there's a lot of things missing.
Okay.
Let me dissect it. First of all, there's what we call the human race. We're all related in human race. Again, before we become Nigerians, we must become human first.
Yes.
And that's what is missing. Having said that, the reason why comedy thrives very well in Nigeria today is not far-fetched. The reason why it thrived very well is because the comedians make comedy from everyday life of every Nigerian. And that's why you see that comedians are excelling, because they are living reality. Now, it might surprise you that you observe something unusual of me today when I was coming to your studio. I had my little daughter, I had my dog, I had my PA, and I had my little cousin with me. Because my wife traveled with my little boy that is 4 months. I'm coming. I know that Chinedu will come into this. That's why I said we have to be human first before we become Nigerian.
And I could even, I was surprised, taken aback by the way you really took that dog.
Thank you.
Like a human being.
Thank you. I'm coming to that, okay? Now, in Edo State today, as we speak, we have passport office, as we have it all over the states or the federation, as you may aware. We have 36 states here, okay?
Yes, of course.
But, as usual, when you have controller in any of the passport office, it becomes their passport office, not Nigerian passport office again. We do not have institutions. We had men that are institutions. We must take back from them the institutions and give the institutions to us, Nigeria. And that's why we're having this problem. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. Because I am planning a vacation for my wife and my little boy, is 4 months, obviously need a passport. My wife had no choice now to travel to Kogi State to get a passport, because you can obtain passport anywhere so long you're a citizen. As my wife was going, my wife met customers around 9 o'clock in the night with a 4-year-old baby. The customs stopped her, detained her, that they were going to pray before they attend to my wife. My wife had a Lagos number, that because it's a Lagos number, they suspect that the clearing of that vehicle is being compromised. First of all, when vehicles are compromised, the customs are responsible, because the customs are supposed to patrol our borders, not our road. So everything about Nigeria is wrong. And I had to come to the fore and ask the custom officer,
yes.
I said, who are you praying to? If you are praying to the same God or say Allah that I believe in, you are praying wrongly. To detain a child of 4 months old unlawfully because you are praying, I said that is preposterous. I am going to call the senator in that area. I am going to call the IG. Now, I was leaving it, I was provoked. Before the idiot.
No, please.
Before,
we don't say that, please. But reference shouldn't even be made to that because this is a public discourse, and whatever ill statements should be kept aside.
If anybody detained your child that is 4 months old because he was praying to one God, he's an idiot. No apology. But there are something even in the Bible that you must reject those people who are going to destroy our nation. We must have respect for the little ones in any country. We must have respect for the elderly. They don't have this. And we must reform every institution.
Okay, you are taking that as a baseline at which people or functionaries behave.
That's
in
what
terms
I'm saying.
of the system of
Of
government.
course, because every institution here, if we're talking about rebates, we're talking about rebranding, we must holistically look at every institution.
It cuts across.
I mean, whether you are talking about teaching profession, well, I'm talking about setting up an hospital now because I'm very angry. Whenever I feel my pain, I find a solution to it. I'm talking about setting up a TV station. So let me see how the NBC will control me. Wherever I feel my pain, I find joy in it. And that's how we are going to do across the board. Because Nigeria is a great country. Ethnicity shouldn't divide us.
Yes.
Ethnicity should rather unite us.
That's where I was coming to, because you are the president of One Love Foundation.
Of course.
And so love covereth a multitude of sins.
Because even the foundation of our existence was based on love. Go to the Bible. Because we started with prayer. Prayer was about love. And we're going to end it with prayer because prayer again is about love.
And no matter what, that wouldn't affect the love you have for your country.
No matter if it affects the love I have for my country, I will not be here. Many occasions when I'm coming to Nigeria, friends of mine who are also Nigeria, I won't say they are not patriotic, who love this country too, but who doesn't have the strengths, who cannot live with these circumstances. They say, oh, you're going back again, buying ticket to hell. I say, what do you mean? Say, Nigeria is hell. Why would you have all this in Canada?
That's opinion based.
That's opinion based. That's what I'm saying. That's why I say everybody has his own opinion.
Yes, but that's what they have about Nigeria.
I have something every other time because I have mentors. I read a lot. Because J.F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country will do for you, but rather what you will do for your country.
Okay, let's look at our diversity. Some argue that our diversity is more of a curse than a blessing.
Our diversity would have been more of a blessing than a curse. But the politicians who profit in dividing us, who cash in, who take the currency in division, enjoy the profit. And that's why the bigotry, the nonsense, the fake news, that's why they exist. Because the issue is not about the North and about the South. Every Nigerian across the board are good citizens. The issue is about individual. Let me tell you something very clear today before my brother will come in here, okay? There is nothing like bad people, but there is something like bad behavior. Nobody is bad, and nobody will be taught how to love, but because people can be taught easily with bigotry how to hate. Not one. It's like fundamental things, like we all grow up in this society. No one tell their children or their daughters, contrary, in the night, how to do it. It's in within. You don't teach your children how to have sex. Never. It comes naturally.
It's in it.
Because in it, and it's love. And third, the same way, you can never teach a child how to love. It's inborn. But they grow with it. You emphasize on it. You display character that is like opium, perfume, and they follow that trace.
Okay.
It's negative and it's positive. If you tell a child, my neighbor is bad, my neighbor is a witch, before you know it, your child continue to live it, going to believe on it that their neighbor is witch.
Because they learn by observation.
That's what I'm saying. And that is why you see that there are so many miracle seekers today. That's why you see that there's many, I'm not saying all, so-called men of God are exploiting their citizens.
Okay, we will sit here.
Go to Rwanda today. Let me finish this.
Go
to Rwanda today. Rwanda president said, I don't care what you call me. I am going to close churches. And he dared them and he closes it. Because In a developed world, people are closing churches and turning into factory for the teeming youths to gain unemployment. And we in Nigeria, we are closing factories and turning into churches. Is that not preposterous?
No. Okay, I'll come back to you. Samuel, let's look at the way we evolved. Now, we look at our colonial days, where we had the amalgamation of the Southern and Northern Protectorate. And now we have a heterogeneous background, and we're trying to make it unified, as in put it in unity to make sure that we have a very stronger force. Now, do you see that as working?
Well, we all know how Nigeria came about, and the issue of the amalgamation of the parts of the country, you know, the Lagos Southern Protectorate and the Northern Protectorate and all of that. You know, it's supposed to be a blessing. Of course, we know that. I was listening to Nancy Pelosi yesterday, you know, on Amanpour, Christine Amanpour, and she was saying that America is made up of migrants, people from different parts, who come to America and establish and become Americans and live. You know, they take pride in the diversity over there. And they have always...
It's working for them.
Yes, it's working for them. And they have always impressed it on the current president to continue to allow people come in, because that's the richness of the country. That same principle is supposed to have applied in Nigeria.
You know, they were able to evolve a model of leadership that's working for them. But where are we?
Well, Nigeria, we are coming, but honestly, the journey has been very, very slow. I think the issue with Nigeria is that there is mutual suspicion from the tribes that make up the country. Well, of course, we know that the colonial masters came up with the policy of divide and rule, whereby, you know, certain tribes were propped to be leaders while others are subjugated, consistently supposed to be.
Just to support their aim of coming.
Of course, their aim of coming and possibly to, you know, continue their entrenched interest in Africa and in Nigeria. And that has worked well. We know that certain people believe that it's their, you know, natural birthright to be rulers of this country, and so on and so forth. And things have continued like that. Just like you said, we have not been able to evolve a kind of leadership that will make Nigeria work. We've gone close to it, but it's like taking 5 steps forward and then 20 backward. We move forward to it, and then something happens along the way. Maybe the leader in question or in authority begins to do things as he deems fit and further divide the country. So at the end of the day, there is no nationalistic feeling amongst Nigerians. There is no this feeling that he talked about. You have to be human first. For instance, we evolved from, say, tribes or something. But again, we need to transcend that basic level and get to a nationalistic level where we all feel we are one Nigeria, and where we have to fight to establish one Nigeria. Well, each tribe, assuming Nigeria is to part ways now, so how many tribes? We have over 100 tribes in Nigeria, right? Assuming we part ways on the tribal lines, how many countries will evolve? And then when you have small countries of maybe say 35,000 people or 1 million people, would you compare that to a country that has about 200 million people? In other words, there is strength in number.
Okay,
but it's supposed to be like that.
Yes, let's again look at the leadership style.
Yes.
Like some have argued that in terms of leadership, our leaders seem not to be able to draw the line between tribal sentiments and nationalistic values.
Well, it's been playing out, especially recently. You know, it seems like certain parts of the country, people from there cannot amount to anything. Or so, you know, if you look at it like that, it seems as if certain persons from the other side of the country are the ones that are loved and you know, that can have it all. When you look at appointments and other critical appointments, so to speak, you discover that it seems to be lopsided in favor of certain line. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has pointed to that. He has pointed to that fact. Nigeria seemed to be further divided along that line. And it seems to be like our leaders like it like that. It seems like they like it like that.
Okay.
And they are further entrenching that division amongst the people of Nigeria.
Okay, involving a change, like what he just said concerning leaders not being able to distinguish the line between tribal sentiments and nationalistic values. What is your engagement on that?
You know, I see my eloquent brother analyzing this. I'm very, very impressed the way he's taking it step by. But we are missing something here, you know. And I want to also correct the impression. We've been very unfortunate when we have leaders. It was in the past. And if you look at our national anthem very well, it talks about it. That's where you have people like Awolowo, Enaoro, Tafawa Balewa, just to mention very few. Azikiwe and all that, okay? Leader, the word leader, go and define it. Leaders are people who see problems and provide solution. Leaders are people who unite us rather than divide us. Yeah. What we have today, they are referred to, by me again, my opinion, as boss. They are like mafia bosses. Do it the way I want it. No other way other than mine. Bosses are different from leader. Yeah. What you have here today are bosses. They are political bosses. They are not leader because there's nothing in them that explains leadership. Okay? That's one. And when you want to talk about some other side of this country, no, we go right about it. Whether talk about North or South. The Northerners have not helped their people. They are brothers. They are very good people. First of all, let's go to about this quota system. Why would you have somebody in the South score 180, he or she will not be admitted into university? And you have some people, or the Northerners, not some people, who will score below 110, and they will be admitted. And then, for one purpose, which the British people have set down, to either to be the head of customs, the head of the immigration, the head of the police, or the head of the army. It's dragging us back. You are equally saying that my son cannot do it. Pass my child on a weak pass. I will never be a leader that will tell any teacher to pass my daughter or my son on a weak pass. I must tell my daughter, if it's a required mark is 200, you must get 205 or 200. I need a decision.
But don't you also look at some areas where some of us are educationally backward?
No,
as a way of encouraging
there's
that
no
trend.
area. There's no area. I can tell you that my friends from the north are one of the brightest people that I know academically. Let us take example from Sanusi, who was the former CBN governor, who is now the emir of Kano.
You are taking a minute portion.
No, it's not very. It's not minute. Let me tell you.
In midst of the majority
in the north
that are
the reason why they turned their people to a Amajari out of their selfish interest. Allah did not say, I give my rich to those who deserve it. Okay. And I give poverty to those who deserve poverty. But they came out with this idea to enslave their people that if you are rich, it's Allah's blessing. If you are poor, it's no, it's not that.
We may not be able to entertain that properly because
I'm not talking about,
I don't have the right panelists to tackle that.
I am not a scholar when it comes to that. I'm not telling you from ordinary sense. This is what we call ordinary sense. I'm telling you, the Northerners are very bright people as the Southerners. It is because of these British people who would select some of the few people to say you must do this in order to weaken the South. And this has become their disadvantage. No matter how rich they are today, if you are looking at, out of the 18 million youths that's in the street, roaming the street, uneducated, I tell you categorically, 15 of them are Majaris. It's only 3 million. From statistics, they are the Southerners. So we are all brilliant people. Either we are collectively foolish as a country, or we are collectively smart. So we must come down together. We must rebrand Nigeria again so that the quota system should be abolished. Let's who the car fit, wear it. Let's stop this selection. Let us stop this nepotism. Let us stop this favoritism. It is not just stealing that is corruption. Nepotism, favoritism, they are all father and mother of corruption.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You spoke about nepotism and all of these social ills, favoritism.
Yes.
But let's look at the way forward in terms of the present realities facing us. We hear of killings across the country, and we hear of agitations. It's either one group agitates today, then another agitates tomorrow. What do you see as the right compass for the leadership in addressing this?
People agitate for all these things because of lack of justice. When people know that they are being justly dealt with, They will relax. People know when they are treated rightly. How do you feel when, okay, I'm the president, I want to make appointments, and I'm picking from a particular side? Of course, you will feel cheated upon. You will feel that, you're not being valued. How do you feel when oil is drilled from your backyard and there is degradation and nothing is being done about it, and there is development elsewhere? You feel you're cheated upon. So if there is going to be correction, if there is going to be movement forward, there has to be economic justice, social justice. Everybody has to have a sense of belonging. And the Honorable here has talked about, the issue of quota system and all of it. I think that should be jettisoned. How long shall we continue to say we're educationally less developed and so on and so forth? Why do we have, in national forms, why do we have issues like tribe, religion,
place of birth,
so on and so forth? Those things divide us. They do not unite us. And so if
like
we want
religious intolerance, for instance.
Yeah, of course. If we want to move forward, when such maybe appointments or employment or whatever it is being done, such factors should be removed. And we must make sure that everybody in Nigeria has a sense of belonging. And that's why I think in the Constitution it said that maybe each state should produce at least one minister. Because there is the need for each state, each part of the country, to have a sense of belonging. Yeah, it's important, this issue of let the cap, whoever the cap fits, let him wear it. However, in another way, there must be a way of reconciling these things. Much as, yeah, whoever the cap fits should wear it, but we must make sure we carry along people from different parts of the country so that they will have a sense of belonging, so that they will know that they are justly being treated, instead of doing things anyhow. That's the way I see it.
If we look at the way I use, for instance, graduates who are aspiring to get jobs, job seekers, applicants, and in the course of the day, they are not able to acquire these jobs. And most times we have this issue of brain drain, where a lot of resourceful persons move away from the country. And how do you expect the leadership to tackle this?
Again, there's no leadership. You ask me, how do I expect the bosses to tackle it? When they become leader, we address that, okay? And then, let me tell you something. Now,
if there's no leadership, then why are we having a government?
That's why...
I think that cannot be so correct.
Well, if you are saying it's not correct, I'm not going to say or use the word of Sowore, my very good friend, and say revolution. I won't say that, because I'm very careful with what I say.
Because if you say that, you'll be taken on that.
No, that's why I said. That's why I say I'm very careful what I say.
All right. Let me tell you, as they say, revolution has a negative term.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Even the weakest government cannot take the term revolution very lightly. But if we say agitation, if we say protest, we all know what that means, okay? And that's why I say that I think, I wasn't born in Canada, but I'm a Canadian. If I can say things in Canada, and the Canada government will appreciate and respect me and value me, I mean, what about the place of my birth? This is the country of my birth. I love Nigeria very well, okay? Now, we are going to be in more trouble between now and 5 years. We train very few doctors here. We train nurses here.
Are you saying that like a prophet or what?
I'm telling you.
Or you are trying to draw an analogy?
There's no prophetic in what I'm saying here.
Okay.
I don't want to be like men of miracle seeker. I'm telling you reality. So sometimes the reality fall into their hand and they claim that they are God, that they see God and they have telephone number to God. I will never claim that. I don't have telephone number to God, but I have my knees to pray to him and communicate to him.
Yeah, the essence why we have this platform is for us not to degenerate to the point where we'll be having issues.
You're getting it again twisted.
Okay.
Again, it's not, if you see, I'm not as smart as you. Do not let me lose my train of thought, please. I beg you.
Okay.
You are very smart. I'm not as smart as you. You know that, right? Okay. Now, what I'm saying is that doctors are migrating every day.
That's right.
Because the West are very smart. They want the best of our doctors. Americans are Canada and London. They are cashing in from our doctors. We have a shortage of doctors here, and our doctors are moving in exodus. We are in trouble. Nobody to care for the young, nobody to care for the aged. The reason why is that the government doesn't care about the welfare of doctors. Self-force is not selfishness. If I want to, respect and be a patriotic citizen of my fatherland, I shouldn't let that cause my detriment. If I know I'm going to die, I'm going to live. They are living like the birds. They are flying. The others are going. The dents are going. That's why I'm saying that we are going to be in more trouble if we are not very careful.
Based on the present realities.
That is one, okay? The teachers, the best of the teachers are living. That's reality. I am presently doing a campaign now for the police. I'm writing a big board all over 36 states because we are supposed to police the police. The police have been undermined. They've been treated so poorly. This is not about being boastful. You saw my dog. My dog lives on expense of 5,000 naira a day. You times that about 30.
That's quite huge.
Okay, 5,000 a day. That's why you see that he's responsible, he's warm, he has the affection of love. But you see bingo in the street that you throw stone on, they will bite you. My dog will not bite if there's nothing to bite. Are you no, I mean, it might sound funny, but it's an analogy. I'm trying to tell you something here, okay?
Yes.
Now, the police must be treated fairly to police its citizens. If you go to the barrack, I cannot put my dog in the barrack because my dog will die on infection or bacteria. You understand? And that is why you see there's a transfer aggression. There's extrajudicial killing. If you don't have love, you can't give. Can you give what you don't have? Let us look into the police system. Let us look into the area of health. My uncle died yesterday.
You mentioned not your dog to a military barracks, for instance.
No, I'm taking the police barrack. I can't. He will die on
in
infection. Yeah, because it's not a living condition. It's not. If you look at the United Nations standard, it's not. And the
so you mean to say that the environment is not healthy?
Oh no, it's not. And the police are doing very well. Our Nigerian police are the best police all over the world. The police transfer the aggression. The government expects the police to take care of their children with sweat and salt. This is only
but we have the budget which seems to take care of that aspect. But don't you think there are more to it than what the eyes can see?
Let it continue from there.
Sorry.
I read somewhere that last year's budget was it to the police was 6 billion, but at the end of the day only 11 billion, but only 6 was released. You know, the budget was supposed to be 11 billion, but at the end of the day only 6 billion was released. Meantime, our senators are having a field day, you know, enjoying themselves, buying posh cars and all of that. But the police is not being mentored. I have passion for the police. I have love for the police, you know, and they need to be taken care of. So
in order to be able to tackle the issues of insecurity.
Just like you said, if budgetary allocation is 11 billion, why don't you release it? Why cut down, you know, to paltry sum of 6 billion? What would they do with that? How do they buy vehicles to operate? You go to divisions and see the type of vehicles that they use. One-eyed, you know, the lights, just one, and so on and so forth, rickety. And yet they are supposed to police the nation and defend us from the crimes going on around the country. That's horrible. So that should be looked into. Obviously, it has to be looked into.
It's a rebate. Okay. It's a rebate.
Yes. Let's look at the trust that people have for the government. Yeah. Now, can you say that is diminishing or is improving?
Well, really diminishing. I was watching Donu Kobare, I hope I get her name. She's a columnist, I think, in Vanguard newspaper, international journalist. And she was, just last night, and she was expressing disappointment about going on in the country. Honestly, things are not really working the way they ought to work. You hear about, you know, headsmen running amok, destroying people and killing and all of that. And you hear about maybe release, you know, all of it's happening. We are seeing it. And these things, yeah, they were happening, you know, coming up gradually, but it seems as though they just gain boldness to operate and do things anyhow. So when people are not secure, issues are coming up. And of course, there was this issue of returning licensed guns and that kind of thing. What in the world are you trying, you know, security is at the level, and you're trying to ask citizens who have legally acquired guns for self-protection, self-defense, and you're asking them to turn in guns. What are you trying to say? Okay, but we've been on leadership issues. Yeah. But do you think it has to also do with followership? Then the need for us to improve. I'll come back to you. Okay. The need for us to improve on our patriotic variability needs more of followership. Don't you think so? When you talk about patriotism, so much lies on the leadership. They say or everything falls and rises upon leadership. Citizens are ready to be patriotic, but how has the leadership behaved towards the followership? Now, when people think they are being shortchanged, how can they give their best? Nigerians are among the best people you can get on earth. They are easily placated. They are easily impressed. But at the end of the day, when they keep on seeing injustice, what do you expect from them? So when you talk about followership, and I think so much lies on leadership.
Okay, let's look at what transpired in what happened to the immediate past Deputy Senate President, A.K. Kwerimadu, recently when he traveled to Nuremberg. Now, will you say that the aspect where some persons really attacked him is an extension of agitations that they have about our leaders in the country?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to go back to the question you asked him, and I'll come back to the Kwerimadu, okay? First of all, I'm getting confused, and we shouldn't confuse the audience. We do not have leaders, we have bosses. Okay, these are political bosses, okay? Now let me tell you how the bosses operate, okay? Or the mafias operate. I'm not going to mention it because you said no many mention it, okay? Now, there was a trial many years ago in 1928 when a mafia boss who undermined and oppressed his people were taken to court. During that trial, the mafia boss has a cock in his feet. When you're going to take the feathers of cock away, you do it with sense, with style, or you do it with hot water. But this guy took the feather, bang, plucked it off, and the cock was bleeding in the midst of the trial. He took the cock and threw it away. And this is a cock who has been looking for freedom. To the amusement of people, the cock came back again because the guy put his hand on his pocket and bring out corn and throw it to the cock. Because the cock is starving. The cock eat the corn and again jump again to the master fish. That is what the political bosses have done to the citizens. They've so undermined them that the very few one who wants to survive have no choice again than to follow the bosses. If they were leader, the people would reject them. Because they were not leader, they were bosses, people follow them. That is one. And in the case of Ekweremadu,
in Germany,
expect more of it. The reason why,
but do you appreciate that?
Let me finish, sir. I don't know what I appreciate. I don't know what I don't appreciate. But what I do know that more of you will come. Because some people like me, like him, have pledged 1 million naira that we should look into holistically when any of these corrupt leaders are traveling. We should look at their itinerary and we'll stay the protest. Since we cannot be defended here by home, we'll be defended by abroad. Let me tell you something. I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm proud to say that. When any of these bosses come to Canada, and I know that their record is dirty here, I will lead the protest. And what Ekweremadu got is nothing.
Okay, but it seems to be that you are trying to encourage that.
Of course, we will encourage it to discourage the bosses, to respect us, to make our educational system functionable, to make our health system functionable, to have electricity and take it back from these bandits who took away the BEDC. For 2 weeks now, I have no light in my area. Have I committed a crime? No. What is the functionalities of government? You have electricity. Do you have one? Please answer it. Now, I'm not the one interviewing you now. Do you have electricity? No, let me play. Do you have electricity? Please, be sincere. Okay, do you have electricity?
You still have the floor.
Do you have a health?
You still have the floor.
Do you have a free medical health? No. Yeah, do you have education? No. Do you have listen, this is a country that we make budget for water resource. And there's no water anywhere. Everybody had borehole. Come on now, let us be sincere.
But don't you also agree that the outburst or the attack made on the immediate Deputy Senate President in Nuremberg in Germany is not a representation of the majority of the Nigerians?
You cannot say that. You don't know how the majority feel or how the minority feel. But I can say categorically that those who are the agitator, they were venting out their anger because enough is enough. We cannot continue like this.
Okay, we hear about these agitations now, even the revolution now, hashtag revolution now, issues by Shori and the detention. Now, what don't you like about the protest?
Well, I think about the protest, if it's going to be civil, I love it. What I don't like about it is there would have been how we can guide ourselves so we don't hang the dog, so we don't call the dog a bad name. Because we know the government here are people who are very undemocratic. We know that for very sure.
You can't say we know because
I know.
You can only speak for yourself.
I know, and
yes.
I know that some of majority of my people know they are undemocratic, they are selective, they are full of nepotism.
Okay, you can't dwell on that because
I'm saying that. Let me tell
for you
why.
to say that you must have indices.
I have the indices.
To show.
Do you want to know a few of the indices?
But there's
do you want to know a few of the indices?
There's only for us to do that
do you
because
want
we
to
don't have the right.
Okay.
I don't have the right panelists
do you
to
know
discuss that
the
with you.
few of the indices? Director of Custom, Ausama. AIG, Ausama. IG, Ausama.
Okay, let's play that on that.
Ausama.
Let's play that on that.
Chief of Staff, Ausama. Every institution here is Ausama. Is this an Hausa country? It's Nigeria.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let's look at your expressions on the headsmen and farmers classes. Yes. How do we resolve it? Because we brought about an issue of having modern ranches, and then we have this aspect of Ruga program that was suspended. Now, what do you make of the final solution to make them coexist without having issues?
Do other countries have cows? How have they been able to, go on? How have they been able to live? Well, I haven't really been to many of these countries, but I don't think that cows roam about. Sometimes, just where I live at Ekai, you're driving out and cows are in front of your house. What is so special about cow in Nigeria? Okay, if you want to, why not pay special attention to piggery as well? What's so special about cows that we can't rest? Do you understand?
They say a man does not know the use of his tail until it is cut off. Okay. But by the very time we have scarcity of that, maybe you know the essence.
No, we are not saying the cows are important, but it's private business.
Okay.
What's nationalistic about cows? Are they the citizens of the country? People should have their private businesses and go on with it. If I have fishery, I should take care of my fishery. If Honorable here has piggery, he should take care, and the way it's being done.
Okay, so we keep talking about having infrastructural development,
yes.
Placing infrastructures for investments to
very
thrive.
Yes.
And if the federal government is looking in that direction, take for instance in the Ruga settlement, is there anything wrong there?
Well, I want to compare I'd like to compare the Ruga settlement with what obtains elsewhere.
Okay. Where
people have their farms. Does it have anything to do with government spending money? If people have their farms, does government have to give them money? Even if government wants to give them money, maybe it should be a loan or something. But does government have to fund such projects? That's my argument. Individuals should take, they shouldn't allow animals roam. Individuals should be able to take care of their animals.
Okay, how do we?
Let me assist and also support my brother. Okay, yes, the government has a right to fund ranches for individuals who have a template, who present a very nice template.
That's a way of providing infrastructure.
Yeah, but we are talking about unemployment. You see, this Ruga issue have been overblown out of proportion. Again, I talk about bigotry. In as much as people are condemning Buhari government and its people about this has nothing to do with Buhari.
Okay.
I'm very objective.
Okay.
The Ruga issue has been going on before our existence. It's been going on in the Bible. When you hear about the cowboys in America, in Dallas or Texas, there had been exploitation. There have been, I don't know what they call it there. It has been happening. Okay. But
so it's not new.
It's not new. Even before, it's been going on for thousands of years.
They don't call it Ruga,
okay,
right?
They don't call it Ruga. Let me tell you. You have names for different things, okay?
That's right.
Okay, but the features are there.
Let me tell you something, my brother.
Okay.
People always cash in on currency. Yeah. The politicians want to cash in on everything. They go to the media. Today, you have 85% or more fake news. They call Buhari also from there. I'm not his fan, but when there's truth, you say the truth. Yeah. They shouldn't scare us that the Northerners are coming to come and take our land. That's not their intention. The Northerners cannot take our land. If we are sincere with ourselves, we have billionaires who have benefited from Nigeria without questioning. They have houses abroad. They have businesses abroad. They should close some of the houses abroad. They should sell some of their investments abroad and invest in ranches. We even have the state governments who are taking security vote when their states are not secure. The state can also invest in Ruga. They can invest in ranches to create employment. We can make from there. We can have butter from there.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong about the approach.
It's nothing wrong.
No, let me,
Except that people want to create confusion.
Let me add something. Let me add something. You know, we have a sense of history. Okay, people are talking about the nature of the people who are in charge of this Ruga thing, who will be in charge of this Ruga thing. Okay, they are migrant in nature. And when they migrate, certain things develop over time. And that's what people are looking at. We have case studies where this thing has happened. You know, people migrated and, you know, they wanted to settle and they settled, and from there, they grow and become something else and begin to struggle for the land where they came as visitors. That's what has happened.
There's another school of thought that believes that there's this infiltration of some Boko Haram members and ISIS that are really making it more than what it should be.
I disagree with that.
So don't you think that again could also be causing disaffection?
I disagree with that. Reason why, I have traveled. I have seen things. Traveling is part of education.
Right.
Now, if you look back after 9/11, we had not had any terrorists attacking America. We've only had the domestic terrorists, which are the far right, who hate the blacks or who hate the Mexicans, who are committing atrocities in America. Okay? Anybody can migrate to Canada or America. You can even live here as an armed robber. But if you go to America or Canada, the law will put you in your place.
Okay.
Because if you cannot take the heat in the kitchen, leave the kitchen alone. And if you cannot do the time, don't do the crime. So if you have a responsible government and things are in place, there is no need of being afraid that somebody is going to take your land. Because we do not have responsible government. Because every money that is made for this country is being divided by individual. Look at the cases of federal secretary, you call the... Federal... There are some people now in the federal government, recently, I don't want to mention their name again, who have been indicted again with billions. Because there are some people who tell the politicians, this is how we do it. And this money is meant for your citizens. And you pay some few tithes and buy house abroad and let the people suffer. Let us be human before we become Nigeria.
Okay, in the overall, because anything that has to pertain with citizenry should be the very major basics for government to thrive. Yeah. Now, what do you advise? Because we have social intervention programs, for instance. The NPAR scheme, for instance, of the present government of Muhammadu Buhari. Do you see this as a right step in the right direction in raising the patriotic level of citizens?
You can't be handing out, you know, portrait sums to people when massive corruption and wastage is going on. In Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's book, she talked about how much that she compared what some states, especially southern states, make in comparison with some West African countries like Togo, Sierra Leone, some of these countries. And she came to a conclusion that because of the fiscal independence, or so to speak, there is wastage of resources. Okay, I want to come with the book. Okay, she compared state like Akwa Ibom gets with what the Western countries get, and she makes the point that these countries fare better than these states. What has happened? Corruption is there.
Are you saying that the aspect where we have a lot who are jobless and then they have an opportunity to still get something from the government is waste?
How much? How much? We're talking, how much do individuals steal?
But there's a dictum that says that half bread is better than none. Or
well,
you disagree with that?
You hand out 5,000 to somebody who is not. What's 5,000 going to do?
No, the NPAR project pays up to about 30,000.
Which one is that?
The NPAR scheme.
NPAR. Well, how many young people can build their life on 30,000? Can they marry with that? Can they really raise children with
But
that?
don't you think that that's the right step in the right direction? Because at least one has to start from somewhere.
So the point is, compare what the average citizen earns and what the people he calls bosses earn, and check.
Not he calls bosses, the leaders.
They're not leaders, they're boss.
Okay, my point is, so much amount is frittered away in servicing politicians.
Thank you.
And all, I heard that whether a governor appointed 1,000 special assistants, how much will be spent on those ones? How much are we spending on the legislature? Okay, the minimum wage, how far have we gone with it? How far have we gone with it? As we talk now, tertiary institutions are shut down by ASU and SANU. Things are not working, and a few persons are making so much money. The other day they showed us how much a minister
not ASU, but a NASU
and SANU. And of course, once one finishes, maybe the other one starts their own. So the point is, government must find a way to deal with corruption and conserve funds. I think so much is being wasted on politicians, political appointees, and so on and so forth. Those of them in the national, something must be done to reduce their take-home pay and make sure that it gets to the hands of the ordinary citizens.
Let's look at the you're finished the point. Let's look at the NYSC scheme. Is that is that a right platform?
What does that mean?
To raise the patriotic level.
Yes, that is one of it, and I respect that. But again, I said I'm not as smart as you. So many ramifications. Let me say, because what you do is that you take a point. We will not finish that point. You go to that point. You are very smart. But let us go back to what he was saying. You're talking about NASU, ASU, and all that. These people, it's like e-trade. They trade with their citizens. This is a country where you have, a man that will rally around to become a state governor for 8 years. Without running him, to become a state governor, a man who is a very good friend, Comrade Adam Oshimole. And today, the ordinary Nigeria is still earning 18,000 naira. And today, he was raised to become APC chairman. And today, he's so connected to the Northerners who had the power in this country. And today, he's unable to do something for the ordinary citizens. What are we talking about? So these people call, what do you call them again?
When you say he's unable, don't forget, he's just a national party chairman. So he's he's not the president.
Don't say he's just a national party chairman. That's a very high position. Don't undermine him, please.
No, I'm not undermining him.
Adam Oshimole is my friend. Do not undermine Adam Oshimole.
He's not the president.
No, I will not take it from you, please. Okay. Now, having said that, now they call them a labor union. Now, it is all fraud. Because every conductor, every driver, you call one retained, they all pay money to this scheme. If a conductor dies, nobody knows he dies. If a driver dies, nobody knows the driver died. But they come to the TV, and continue. They are all fraud.
Okay, in the final analysis, what's your final words?
My final word is that the institutions that are not working, let us collapse them, and let us rebrand them. Let us not look at people as institutions. Let us look at institutions as institutions. This is what helps the Western world. Whoever is culpable, whoever is corrupt, if it's established by any court of law, let them be prosecuted, let them be jailed, so that they can be precedents.
Okay. In terms of the intervention programs also?
There's no intervention program. Let me tell you what is intervention program. In Canada, when you're unemployed, they pay you like $500 a month. They encourage you to go back to school. They give you grants. They also tell you when you finish, you come and pay. When you don't have a house, they give you a house. Muhammadu Buhari promised his citizens 5,000. We've not gotten it here.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe he's giving it to the Amajari. Have you gotten yours?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's the final words on this. The final words on this.
I don't know what to say. Our leaders travel abroad.
No leaders, bosses.
Oh, sorry, sir. They travel abroad.
That's his opinion. Your opinion will be different.
It's my brother. Bosses, they are
I don't want to quarrel with him.
Thank you. We're not quarreling. We're brothers.
But the point is, our leaders travel abroad and they see how things are done. How come such cannot be done here? How come such cannot be done here with all the money that we have in this country? So our leaders should learn to do things right. Our leaders should cater to the needs of millions of the ordinary people whom they resort to whenever it's time for election. It shouldn't be about the so-called leaders and those in political positions. It should be about the people. They should make policies and laws that can impinge positively on the citizens. The common people are suffering. They are not finding it funny. Just like he said, I provide water for myself. The only thing that is left is possibly to construct road to my house.
I did my already.
Drive. You do everything for yourself.
Yes.
We pay vigilante every month. You provide yourself security dog. His own, he spends 5,000 on the dog. I don't spend up to that. My animal. Okay. So we virtually do everything for ourselves. I'm on estimated billing in my office and at home. And you know what that means? if you see what comes every month,
Give them meter.
give meters. It's not
You are telling them to pay 200,000 a month.
They said they wanted to map or something. They wanted to roll. We've not seen anything
Nothing.
so far.
Okay, thank you.
And so please, our leaders should learn how things are done over there, where they go to, and try to replicate same here. We are not less of humans.
Our
We are
leaders should
human
transform
beings.
the idea of bosses to leadership.
Okay, thank
they
you.
are not leader. They are not leader here. They are bosses. They should transfer the ideas of being a mafia boss to leadership.
Thank you, Samuel Chinedu. Thank you, of course, Patriots.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, the smart man.
Now, you made mention of your dog. I want
Yes.
to say that send me word to the dog.
Thank you. Thank you.
But again, I hope the rights are not being abused in Nigeria.
No, never,
The rights
sir.
of the dog is
Never. They will not do that. I will not allow them to do that.
All right. But even if they do,
No, they will not, because I will not allow my dog to be corrupted.
really?
Yes, I will not.
Okay.
Yes, stay away from
Can't
corrupt
wait
politicians.
to see this dog.
So how do you do that?
Oh, it's very easy. You only give what you have, because I am not saying I'm a saint, but I'm not corrupt to that extent to tell my dog this is pawpaw instead of bone.
Okay, you are truthful to the dog.
Very honest to him, and he loves me for that.
All right, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Big thanks for pulling
God bless
through
you. Thank
on
you for
the
having
program.
me. Yes.
And big thanks for pulling
Thank
through.
you, my brother. You see, where
we
you deserve
call it
honor to
a
be
wrap
with you.
on the discussion raising patriotic citizenry towards national rebirth. And I've been the host on the program, Philip Omo Gupon. Shortly we'll bring you the segment Insurance. Stay with me.